As many of you know, I am a former Maryland resident, and when I got engaged to my husband was living in Northern Virginia at the time, and I was living here in Annapolis, and we were planning our wedding and talking about where we were going to make our home as a married couple. And I thought, logically, well, he works in Northern Virginia, and I work here in Annapolis, so why don't we look somewhere, Silver Spring, split the difference, he'll drive one way, I'll drive the other. And I suggested this idea to my husband, and my husband said, yeah, well, that's not going to happen. And I said, what do you mean? And he said, we're not living in Maryland. And I said, I work in Maryland, I've lived in Maryland, this is my home, what do you mean we're not living in Maryland? And he said, we can't live in Maryland because if we lived in Maryland, I would be forced to fail in my primary duty as your husband and the future father of our children. And I said, what do you mean? And he said, if we lived in Maryland, I wouldn't be able to defend you and to defend our kids. And after I got over my feminist hissy fit, I realized that he had a point. And so now we live in Virginia. And as surprising as it might seem, because I know I'm a very lovable person, there are people who don't like me and who don't like what I do and they don't like what I have to say, and they've told me so. And they've told me so in some pretty disgusting and pretty disturbing words and some pretty disgusting and pretty disturbing ways. And when I'm in Virginia, Virginia is a shall issue carry state. And when I come to work in Maryland, there's nothing I can do. And 99.9% of the time that I'm in Maryland, I don't have these fine people at my back. I don't have anybody at my back immediately. I have law enforcement, the great, wonderful men and women of law enforcement. But when seconds count, the police are only minutes away. And so I ask for your favorable report on SB 100 and on SB 454 with the amendment. We support the amendment to SB 454. We think that's a really great way to get at some of the technical issues and some of the differences between the states, is to work those out specifically in the agreements. Thank you very much.